What's going on, people? Back with a bang. This is the Money Management, back here to bring you guys another recap of this past week of trading. So I think it's week 38 of the year, and I believe that this was one of the toughest weeks to handle in the market this week. But the good thing is we still made some plays, we still made some money, as you guys probably saw from my last video. And in this video, like I said, I'd just like to recap how the past week went. I'd like to take a look at a few stocks we traded. I'd like to take a look at some stocks that are going to be pretty hot in the coming weeks, in the coming days. And I'll definitely like to look at some stocks which you can look to trading going into October, and also of course a few stocks for you guys to buy and hold for shares long term. Now before we do that, I'd like to tell everyone, just make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit the beautiful red button below. It does not cost you anything to subscribe to the channel. It is completely free to hit the red button, so please do that. Whether in your mobile, your laptop, your whatever you're on, just hit the red button, subscribe to the channel. It helps in a great way. Also make sure you guys share these videos with your friends, like the video, and drop some comments in the comment section as well. Now, let's dive into today's video. Let's dive into the recap of how this past week went. So for me personally, it wasn't a great week. A lot of the stocks I actually own were obviously down on this week. Many of the stocks I own, 100 shares of 125 shares, were down quite heavily. Some stocks just sold off. Some stocks just stagnated. But yes, a lot of the stocks I own were down. Now that meant I was down the week just under 4K. But I do understand that this is all part of it. And yeah, you know, when I was trading, I wasn't actively losing money, so that was good. But yes, my overall portfolio was down on the week. That's all part of it. Like I said, it's just one of those things, one of those weeks where that's going to happen. Now, the good thing is, when you make trades in these markets and you're still profiting, it shows that you still know what you're doing. Now, sure, the common stocks I bought for buy and hold long term didn't have the best week, but as long as I'm making some kind of money, keep trading, keep making plays, keep helping others, it still shows some signs of positivity, it still shows some progress. Now, this week in the Discord, we traded a few different stocks. I think I did about 5, maybe 6 callouts this week. There were a couple of bad ones, but 3 or 4 of them were very good plays. We did TTD on Monday, Trade Desk. We did Lucid on Tuesday, ticker symbol LCID. We did AMD on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, we did a couple trades. A couple there that didn't really move a lot. And then the last trade of the week was Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM. Now, Salesforce was interesting because this is one I actually got into today, right near the end of market hours. But it's also one I called out in the Discord. And the funny thing is, just moments after I called it out, it took off. Now, I had been saying, watch this stock, watch this stock, watch this stock since yesterday, actually. Well, when you're watching this is Saturday, but I've been saying, yes, look at this stock since Thursday. And it was hovering around 269, 270. Now it's all the way up to around 285. And again, I've bought a few contracts of this stock for an option play for expiring October 8th. But once this stock starts to move and once I start to see some nice returns with this stock, I'm going to look at taking some profits from the play I'm currently in, expiring October 8th, and then buying more contracts with a higher strike price expiring October 15th. Now, there's no guarantee that all this plays out exactly how I'd like it to, but I have a feeling that this trade will go pretty well. So Salesforce is definitely one to look at over the next couple of weeks going into October. So speaking of the stocks to look at going into October, we're going to dive into that later on in the video, but now I want to talk about some stocks which have some interesting movement today, because obviously we're always looking for opportunities, but we also want to kind of see how certain stocks that have been on our radar performed. Actually, you know what? We're going to dive into that right now. So the first stock is Chewy. So I'm going to start off with Chewy. Chewy sold off heavily, over 4% on the day. It is now sitting below $70. It's in the high 69s, and it is one of those stocks which is way oversold. Now, you guys might remember I did a few videos with stocks like Tattoo Chef, Disney back in the past, and I said these are way oversold. What that meant was buy shares and look to hold them for long term. If you've done that with Disney, you would be up. If you've done that with Tattoo Chef, you'd be up right now. Chewy is in that range right now. Chewy is in that range where I say buy shares, or at least look to buying shares. See how low it drops, but under $70, this is a steal. I don't see how Chewy can stay here for much longer. Of course, sell-offs are possible. It can continue to sell off, but it's a great company and long term I have high hopes for it. So under $70 price point is a buy for me with Chewy. Next, let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook started off the day pretty slowly before just starting to move. It had a very similar chart pattern to Salesforce today. And Facebook is one where I'm looking at the potential opportunity going into next week. Also Facebook had some interesting movement today. It started off pretty slowly, kind of selling off before just started to move upwards past the 351 range. This was a stock I mentioned in my previous video. This was a stock I mentioned in my stocks to watch this week. And remember this, Facebook was at $343, $342 during that time. Now it's back at 352. Now it's looking to go to 360 and eventually 380, I think, within the next couple of months. So keep your eyes out for Facebook. Also, I want to talk about Apple. Apple's around $146 right now. didn't have a crazy day today, had a very regular day, but I'm looking at it going into next week. Apple is one where I'm looking for the $150 to $155 call options for the next 6 weeks to 8 weeks out. Apple is a stock that you need to tread lightly on, because if it's consolidating too much in a short period of time, your options do carry the risk of expiring out the money, or maybe becoming almost worthless or losing a lot of time to play very quickly. So be careful with Apple when you trade it. But again, I'm looking for us to see Apple start moving back towards the $150 range and eventually higher than that. Amazon is next on my stocks to watch going into next week, because Amazon had a pretty stagnant day until power hour, where it went from, I think, under 3,400 to over 3,400, and it just zoomed. Now there was some out the money Amazon calls I was looking at for around 3,410, and these were, I think, $1 or $2 premium before shooting up to around $16, $17 premium by market close. Now bear in mind, these were same day expiry, so you would have to have enough money to buy these contracts, but also have enough money to potentially exercise these contracts before market closed. But my point here is, when Amazon makes those kind of moves, gaining 30, 40 points, you do see the options absolutely fly. So if you can risk, maybe quite far out the money Amazon contract for maybe a little bit shorter term expiry than you'd usually buy, have a look at that, because when Amazon starts to move, those contracts rip. I've been in it before. I've been in Amazon before, where I've doubled up, tripled up my money very quickly. You guys have seen that before. I actually used an Amazon call to want to exercise my right to 100 shares on AMC. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that one. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But Amazon is one to keep on your radar. When you see it selling off, when you see it finding support, that's one where I'd look to pounce. Again, out of the money calls, far enough expiry. Maybe it's more short term than you're used to. But if you're looking for fast money, it might be a little bit expensive, but Amazon is one where you can usually count on it to do the business. And lastly, I'm going to go with Cassava Sciences, ticker symbol SAVA. So last month, this was around the $90 range. A couple weeks ago, it was around $40, a bit higher than $40, $41, $42. Now it's starting to move up again. It's in the $60 range now. It hit $65 today. I think it went past that briefly, and it started selling off, trending down towards the end of the day. But we're not done. I believe this is going to go back to the $80, $90 range within the next couple months. I believe we'll see it at $120 again before the end of the year. So what does that mean? You can buy shares of SAVA. You can also trade options on it. Look at the $70 calls. Look at the $80 calls if you dare for October, for November. But give yourself enough time to expiry. Sava is one where once it starts moving, it does move very quickly, as you've probably seen over the past couple of days. On the past week, it's up very healthily. Over the past month, it is down, I believe. But after the crazy sell-off over the past 3 months, it has so much potential to recover, so much room for recovery, and it is one that you must not sleep on. This is one to keep your eyes out on. This is one to keep on your radar, because these stocks just take a few days before they gap up and you see a $20, $30 price change within a few days. It is possible. And with a stock which is sitting under $100, when you see a $20, $30 movement over a few weeks or even a few days, that is definitely one which can bring back solid returns in such a short period of time. Now let's have a look at some stocks which had a great day today, or had an interesting day today, let's say. I'm going to start off with Nike, ticker symbol NKE. Nike had earnings last night and sold off heavily today. It actually started selling off heavily after hours yesterday, but it continued into today. Okay, maybe it's also one to look at for call options going into next week, but please keep in mind, Nike can continue to fall and gap down to around $133, that level. So beware of that. You might be in the $140 range now. I'm buying $145 calls for Nike. Before you know it, it might be $133 again. So be careful with that stock. Tesla had a great day. If you bought options on Tesla, same day expiry, you ate very nicely with this one. Tesla had a positive day, and I think Tesla's starting to run back up to the $780 range. If you have seen what Tesla's been doing today, remember that Tesla can do that on many random days. So if you are trading options on it, give yourself enough time to expiry. If you are trading options on it, please be patient with your trade. Please understand that as your trade can trend down, it can also trend up. And as it can go up, it can also go down. So you've got to be careful with trading stocks like Tesla, especially with options. When it comes to shares in the $700 range, that is not my ideal price point. I have my ideal price point, which is a couple hundred less bucks than that. So I wouldn't really look at shares right now. But if you're a long-term Tesla holder and you want to average up, then now is probably a good time for you to do that. Or you probably want to wait for a pullback. But Tesla's one to keep on your radar. A couple more social media stocks for you guys. First, I'm going to start with Snapchat, ticker symbol SNAP. Snapchat sold off heavily within the first 20-30 minutes of market open before flying back up towards the $83 range and finishing in the $83 range. Snapchat had a crazy recovery today. It's now at all-time highs. It's had a very good week. It's been solid over the past couple of days. Snapchat is a stock which I remember being in the $15, $16 range when it first IPO'd, or a few weeks after the first IPO. And honestly, If I could go back then and buy shares, of course I would. But right now, it doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean that because at all-time highs, you can't buy shares for the long term. Would I trade options on it at all-time highs right now? It depends how the bullish momentum is going into next week. Would I buy shares for long-term buy and hold? Potentially. Although I do see other options, better options elsewhere. Snapchat is one of those companies which I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. Now, the last social media stock I like to look at is Pinterest, ticker symbol PINS. This had a steady day today. It just kind of kept going up and up and up throughout the day, but it still has so much potential to run, so much room to run. Remember that just a couple months ago, Pinterest was sitting around what, $72, $73? Now it's in the $50 range. You can still find opportunity with this one. You can still buy shares. You can still look at the call options on this one. I personally wouldn't look at the call options because I think with how the stock has behaved, it's been such a slow mover. But if you want to buy shares of a company, you want to see a company that's oversold, Pinterest, look no further than that, because that one is pretty oversold right now. It is one which has so much potential to run back up. It's just like Chewy has that potential to go back up $15, $20 in a few weeks, and with some bullish momentum, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pinterest back at the 70s by end of October, beginning of November. So this was one of those weeks where even though you made money, overall you were down. At least that's what happened with me. I made some good trades. I saw stocks like Lucid pumping. I took advantage of that, which also reminds me that next week could be an interesting week for EVs. So look out for ChargePoint, ticker symbol CHPT. Look out for Lucid. Look out for Blink Energy, ticker symbol BLNK. Look out for these stocks. Please do your research before you enter these stocks. Please do your research before you buy any of these or trade options on them. But yes, this week was one of those red weeks where I'm kind of have mixed feelings because I did what I could, but still you're down overall in the week. But again, it's all part of it. And next week, I am looking to see CRM do some movement and really make great strides with that trade, take profit, take advantage of it, and manage my trade properly. So hopefully if you guys are in CRM or you're looking to get into CRM, you can do the same. Feel free to take profits on the call options which expire in 1 or 2 weeks and then buy the same call options or further out expiries for a couple weeks later. Again, manage your risk, manage your trade properly, because otherwise you're going to be sad that you lost money, you took profits too early, you didn't take profits at all when you were up, you let a green trade turn red, or you didn't get in a stock or whatever. Be careful, because all of that is definitely possible with these stocks. Now lastly, I want to quickly put this out there for you guys. Airline stocks, travel stocks. Yes, we're still in a pandemic. Yes, it doesn't feel like we're in a pandemic, but we kind of know that we're in a pandemic. But keep those airline stocks on your radar. Keep those travel stocks on your radar, let's be honest. CCL, BA, AAL, NCLH. Keep all of these stocks on your radar. Travel stocks are slowly coming back. I actually said this in the Discord a few days ago, and I also posted an article. Since then, they were all up like 4 or 5% this past week. So it means keep those travel stocks on your radar. I'm going to remind you one more time. Different stocks, different cruise lines, different airlines, keep them on your radar. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please check out all those different links in the description. We have the stock option starter pack there, which is 10 videos. You have them access to them for life. It explains a lot of different things about Greece, different factors which actually affect options, all the things you need to know when it comes to calls, puts, blah, 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 my trading strategies, common trading strategies, all of that. Also make sure you guys check out the Discord, link in the description below as well. There's also many different links for KuCoin, Robinhood, where you can get free cryptocurrency, free stocks, and of course my Coinbase link is there as well. Also, do not forget to check out my socials. Everything is there in the description below. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. That's it for me. I got into making, you got into making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.
Game over.